that's kind of a loaded question. Am I Audible? Is this stream sponsored by Audible? Do people even use Audible anymore? I actually don't know. I'm not gonna think about Audible because that's a fucking rabbit hole. Yeah, I don't know. Not, maybe not as much time this time around, just on account of like work things, and etc. But, I'm not at work right now, and I don't have to be for until tomorrow, so yeah, let's make use of what time we have, and yeah, just go ahead and hop right into it. So, I do have kind of like the general, you know, seen this all before kind of set up. I did, I don't know, it's not something I did, but I think it's worth mentioning. I find it kind of exciting, but I'm not the only one operating in the Lisposphere whenever it comes to Wayland, I guess. Well, I never was, but I'm not the only one operating on my preferred distribution that I'm using, I guess, would be the best way I describe it. Yeah, so somebody over here on Geeks is working, or they submitted already, it looks like, a series of patches that have the goal of packaging wayland, which wayland is, let me see if I can pull it up. I can pull it up. Okay. Wayland is an implementation of the Wayland protocol entirely in Common Lisp, or I guess maybe a redefinition. I'm not sure how to term it. It's not a wrapper, not anything like that. I was thinking about targeting it originally. I decided not to personally, simply because, on the one hand, I mean, it's been close to 2 years since the last update, and then I feel like targeting something that isn't actually Wayland will make it a little less portable, and I don't know if I want to go kind of that low level with it. And on top of that, I mean, it's still not a complete implementation to my knowledge. I haven't really sifted through the files, and the code and everything, but it doesn't, to my knowledge, provide like compositing capabilities just yet. It does have client support, but that's sort of where things end there. But yeah, I'm going to kind of, now that that's over, I can just kind of jump right into it. So, I was more or less fumbling with error handling last time. That being said, wrong direction, down, smaller, good. I was able to go ahead and get some of those errors resolved. I will kind of briefly go over that, I guess, before I kind of like jump into writing more code, but I also have, I guess you would say, a bit of like a goals list. It's kind of messy. It's, just it's not messy. But yeah, we are kind of right here, which is working through the Wayland book in Common Lisp currently. A firmer grasp on cffi, that's sort of coming as I work with it. So the idea here is that some of these goals will inevitably resolve the others as time goes on. Well, the wheels of time are always turning, but yeah. Implementation is ... because, well, I mean, I don't know. That's far into the future. I don't have a crystal ball. But we're currently going to target this task primarily, which is working through the Wayland book, in order to not only develop a firmer understanding of the Wayland protocol itself, but also, as along the way, as we're working through that, we will be developing out some of those FFI functions, and figuring out what implementing them in practice would look like. So this will inevitably inform some of this. And then these are just the bindings. I believe that really the main ones that are going to need to be targeted are the utils, the server core, and the client core, which are three of the header files that exist within Wayland, and then also form the source objects for the server and the client. I think with everything else, we will be able to first create some bindings for the Wayland scanner. Well, not bindings, because what it does is it parses XML into C, and we don't want to parse it into C. So bindings is not. Let me change that. Rewrite for a Wayland scanner, and yeah, this will kind of depend on converting this XML to expressions that the Lisp reader can interpret. That's honestly probably going to be one of the more cumbersome tasks. A lot of the binding stuff shouldn't be as bad, but parsing sucks. I think parsing sucks. Parsing a really complex XML sounds like it really sucks, but you know, we do what we do. We do what we must, because we can, you know? Yeah. So, I'll just kind of go over some of what I have been doing, you know, kind of in the interim, which was just a day, but yeah, I mean, I did work on it some in that day. The main thing here has just been, I, for the time being, developed a digest, is what I'm calling it, which is inspired by the Next digest that they use for store files. The only thing that this really does is it helps define the... There we go. I don't know if I want this as a constant, actually. I do want them as constants, but I don't want it to redefine itself every single time the FASO file is loaded. So I'm going to declare them as if they are constant names, but they are going to remain variables. What this does is, sort of to start to get into it, if you look at this part right here in the Wayland book, what it notes is that, well, null is preferred for connecting to the Wayland display, and that will cause it to essentially try and contact the Wayland display in the XDG runtime directory and connect there. Otherwise, it will look for Wayland 0 in the XDG runtime directory, else it will fail. So I did want to go ahead and implement that behavior. So yeah, these are defined kind of top level for that reason. And yeah, here is, well, here's error handling and handler cases as well. It's definitely made it a bit more unwieldy. Let me kill that for a sec. Not unwieldy, definitely a bit of a longer function. This is just for quick implementation. In reality, all we really kind of care about in terms of porting it over to the bindings for Wayland itself will be the stuff encapsulated in this section here, which really all it does is it attempts to connect to a display at one of the two above defined constants. If it can't connect to either of those, it will connect to a name display. I honestly don't know if I'm going to leave like this ability to connect to an... I mean, I will, yeah. I feel like it's probably functional to some degree, or it can't. Oh, okay, yeah, that's gonna give us some trouble. You know what? We'll keep it constant for now, okay? And I will change it whenever I'm not loading things again. I'll save that for later. I was thinking Lisp constants originally was similar to, like, say, constants in C or something like that, where you wouldn't really have to worry about it every time, like, the FASL file loads. But yeah, here we are. Yeah, so I ended up wrapping. So the part I was struggling with was kind of to go over it now is I was struggling with the error handling simply because I didn't realize that I didn't realize this function exists, this null pointer p function, and that I could use it to throw kind of a, or kind of like throw an exception here. I believe an exception is what they call that. I really don't know the terminology that well. Whenever it comes to exceptions versus errors, etc., they're all errors to me. But yeah, I have this here to catch a null pointer and basically fuck off out of this, and then I have this down here for all other errors. And then this section is really just for the implementations we work through the Wayland protocol book. It's not something that would exist kind of in the final code. I mean, the threads probably will, like, defining like some different threads for the clients and etc. But like this itself, and yeah, this does indeed, it does what it's supposed to do now. So let's see if we can. All right. And I will oh, it's all threads. So these are the current threads that we have running. Just kind of as a proof of concept, simply because an issue I was having was the thread would, do this and then die instantly. I did add a sweep here. And so what we're going to do is just sort of double check that this will run without any arguments being passed to it. So make Wayland client thread, and then yep, we have a thread returned to us with the hash value, and then we have it returned as well with the client count. And yeah, if you see here, we can run multiple clients and that count will increase. And then they only go on for about 10 seconds. So, by now that should decrease down to 1 again. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. And so yeah, we do have that. And then on the server side, it's pretty similar code, a bit more verbose, kind of whenever it comes to this unwind protect and everything. And that's simply because we have, well, here, I can actually just show you. So within the runtime directory, if you look here, we have foot Wayland socket is because I use the foot terminal, but we have the Wayland 0 and the Wayland 0.lock. I was not exiting out of these correctly on the first invocation of this, and I ended up, funny story, spawning probably close to 3 or 4 different Wayland displays in the runtime directory, and it wound up the next morning. I went to use my computer. Applications were attempting to connect to the incorrect Wayland display, which is interesting, to say the least. I keep saying interesting. I mean, I think it's interesting. Fuck. This is the most interesting thing to me in the world. Actually, no, I don't know. There's probably some things that are more interesting. What have I always been more interested? I'm really fucking interested in Attack on Titan right now. I'm finally getting caught up with that. I have like one more episode of the special to finish, and then I'm done. But that's kind of like an what do they call it? I believe like a non sequitur or something such as that. The terminology exists. But yeah, what I ended up doing with this is, again, we catch the failure if we're pointing to a null display. I also have the display and server thread defined as global variables, and that's simply so during testing I could kill them after, because this Wayland display run does not die on its own. I believe that's part of the event loop, which was leading to the destructor never fucking destructing. But yeah, this should run similar. And then down here are just some other helper functions just while I'm doing this testing through the book. There's make Wayland server, which makes the server and then also sets the server thread to the server. And then we also have kill Wayland server, which takes that thread value and kills it. There's also the setf here to set the value of Wayland display to the pointer to the Wayland display pointer, because otherwise there's not really a way to disconnect or to destroy it unless you're somehow able to just track down that out in the wild fucking pointer. Which sounds like too much work. I'm not gonna do that. If I wanted to track that, I'd be doing this in C if I wanted to deal with like pointer bullshit like all day. Which I mean I have implemented a small compositor in C. It was pretty ugly, and there's a reason I'm not doing this one in C. But yeah, what's exciting about this is we can make the Wayland server. This may fail. It shouldn't fail, but it might, because you never know. Nope. And then, so we have our thread. It's just named test server, and then we also have the display name. That's nothing new. We know what socket it's bound to. But if we want to be doubly sure, we can go over into the runtime directory here, and we can see that it did indeed connect that socket. So we know that everything on that end is working. We're connecting to the Wayland socket. We are creating that display. We don't necessarily know if we're connecting to the socket, simply because this... I'd have to look back at the code for add socket auto. Let's see. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So it's also a pointer. We will probably want to validate that in a similar method. But let's go ahead and kill this thread first. And then verify that it is indeed dead. Oh, no. Run user 1000, and yeah, we do see that's dead. I thought that the Wayland socket definition didn't return a pointer. it takes a pointer. It returns a string. Okay, okay. Yeah, no, I remember correctly. So, yeah, looking at that again, it returns a string, it takes a pointer, so we're good to go there. So since, are, we are in the, kind of already on this page, we haven't added the Wayland display connect to file descriptor or Wayland display get file descriptor, which, kind of just to read through this part again, the name argument is the name of the Wayland display, which is typically Wayland 0. I don't think I ever actually read this out loud. I kind of went through it briefly on my end, and then again a bit more in depth several months ago, but yeah, doesn't hurt to refresh. Swap null and for this in our test and try for yourself. It's likely to work. This corresponds to the name of a Unix socket in XDG runtime directory. Null is preferred, however, in which case libwayland will, if the display is set, attempt to connect to the runtime directory, and then Wayland display name. Otherwise, attempt to connect to runtime directory Wayland 0, otherwise fail. This allows users to specify the Wayland display they want to run their clients on by setting Wayland display to the desired display. If you have more complex requirements, you can also establish the connection yourself and create a Wayland display from a file descriptor. And yeah, these are, you can obtain the file descriptor that the Wayland display is using via Wayland display get file descriptor, regardless of how you created the display. So I really don't know why I would want to connect to a file descriptor. I mean, I guess I could see it, but way later down the line. So since we're here, however, let's go ahead and add those in. And then these are in the client core, I believe. So let's see if we can double verify that in the that's the scanner.make and DTD and XML. We'll go ahead and open that up as well, just so it's kind of like in this whole section. Simply because we will be taking these interfaces as well and creating things for them. Things we will be making, as they say. We will be creating. But yeah, in the interim, this is actually pretty detailed. Look at this. So this is just for... Which license is this? I think the GNU public license? I don't know, though. So yeah. I think that we'll be able to use this interface, or like, we'll be able to use the Wayland scanner, like, well, we'll have to, but yeah, this is essentially how the headers are generated. So the core global object, this is a special singleton object. It's used for the internal Wayland protocol feature. It has request name sync, which is a request that asks the server to admit a done event on the return WL callback object. Since requests are handled in order and events are delivered in order, this can be used as a barrier to ensure all previous requests and the resulting events have been handled. And so on and so forth. We have get registry. And then what's interesting about this is if we... Let's go ahead and... this was for the wayland display. I don't know if this will work on eTerminal. It should, but let's check the API documentation, because I was pretty sure that that was indeed a function in Wayland, but well, we're here. So Wayland display, get registry, come on. Oh, it interfaces on Wayland registry. Which is a client thing. So let's go ahead and see Wayland display sync. Alright. These are client protocols. Right? No. Yes? Must be server. Oh, okay. I don't think these are defined in the actual API documentation. Let's see. Okay. Okay, here we go. I think here we go. Okay, yeah. Okay, we are so intelligent. These are the protocol specifications. Okay, so I feel vindicated. We have the protocol specifications, and we have client and server API. The client and server API are what we are primarily going to be targeting. So let's go back to this. These are client side connect to FD, and then display get FD. So let's see if we can find that. Alright, so we'll go ahead and add this into the client code. And then let's go back here. Would it be in share? No, it'd be in lib, right? No, because that's the source tab. Oh, okay. I know what's going on. Let's go back to eat. Actually, no, we have to go. I don't feel like doing that. Oh, no, I'm just stupid. Okay. It's an include. Oh my god. So yeah, let's go to the, yes, you can import. I don't. Right, yeah, so we have a similar set up here as well, so we are able to vindicate that, as I say. So yeah, let's go back to our cffi, and let's go into the client. Wow, the client looks pretty bare compared to the server. Oh, it's the lack of comments. Or documentation. I think... I feel like with the inline documentation, there's no harm and more is better. Especially for something such as this. And we are returning a pointer to a struct. We can define these as pointers. The display, or is it the display structs, or is it the... Let's go ahead and go back one. Yes, the wayland display struct itself is an opaque struct, so we are able to just pass over a pointer. They even state it here, and let's see. Opaque. Oh, The removal of a C compiler or C interpretation of any kind creates a kind of main disadvantage. Some of C's abstractions are not available, violating information encapsulation. For example, structs that must be passed on the stack or used as return values without corresponding functional abstractions to create and manage the structs must be declared explicitly in Lisp. This is fine for structs whose contents are public, but not so pleasant when a struct is supposed to be opaque by convention, even though it is not so defined. And I think here they tell us to essentially become more familiar with FFI. We are passing, though... Where's the next instance of... Yeah. So for that, we're passing an opaque pointer with this, so we shouldn't need to worry. We shouldn't need to pull in libffi just yet. But yeah, let's go ahead and add this in. Struct the wayland display, and it will accept a pointer. It will return fd, which is an int, and I guess we can pull in some of this right here. The wayland display takes ownership of the FD and will close it when the display is destroyed. The FD will also be closed in case of failure. Add that as the doc string. And why did my paste key not work? That's weird. Yeah. So we have that defined, and then what's the other one that they told us about? The get FD. And then this takes an int and returns the display. Let me... There we go. I believe that we should be good with just that, since we're just returning the pointer to the struct, as kind of defined here. relevant instruct. If the library you're interfacing with returns an opaque pointer that needs only to be passed to other C library functions, by all means just use pointer or type safe definition. And then, well, I mean, these are the functions, not the structs. I don't think we'll be defining too many structs in and of themselves. There's only a relatively smaller degree of like primitive structs defined in Wayland, and then the rest is the protocol, which we should be able to convert directly over into Lisp once we reach kind of that point in the road. So yeah, return a file descriptor associated with the display so it can be integrated into the client's main loop, and then bam, forgot quotes, and then yeah, we have that. And then the process is fairly simple for servers as well. The creation of the display and binding to a socket are separate to give you time to configure the display before any clients are able to connect to it. Here's another minimal example program, and this shows us kind of the C way of what we went ahead and did in Lisp. Obviously, I'd say, you know, there were a few more safety checks in the Lisp display. So it's kind of interesting to compare those two, I think, next to each other. The Lisp one is a lot more verbose. I don't know. I feel like it's... I mean, I did, you know, throw in this whole thread here, so that's probably got something to do with the verbosity inherent in this. Yeah, it definitely fucking does. So yeah. Then it shows us how we would go ahead and, you know, compile that, run it. I have done that before. And then yeah, using Wayland display add socket auto will allow libwayland to decide the name for the display automatically, which defaults to Wayland 0 or Wayland N, depending on whether any other Wayland compositors have sockets in the runtime directory. However, as with the client, you have some options for configuring the display. And then we can go ahead and add these in, so let's go here, and then here, and then let's go into the server core. Oh, okay, that's how the server protocols are, okay. So these are actually what define the protocol. God damn it, that means that all of these files actually will probably have to be written. We'll start with the cores. We'll see what else needs to be done kind of after that. Well, really we'll start with util. And then we'll go on to the server and client core. And I do want to see what's in this protocol file, though. Oh, okay, it's clicking now. It's fucking clicking. It's fucking clicking. So, if we go back to here, is this the correct one? That's interfaces and listeners. Here we go. Yeah. The headers become Wayland Client Protocol.h and Wayland Server Protocol.h, though normally you include Wayland Client.h and Wayland Server.h instead of using these directly. So, this is generated by Wayland Scanner, as it says right up here. And then it also generates these. I believe let's take a look at the XML again really quick. find that out as we go along. Kind of like journey through this. Either way, these files aren't particularly wordy to any degree whatsoever. If you look at wayland server.h, it's a very, very minimal construct. And then similarly, if we look at client.h, it's even shorter. But yeah, where are we again? Oh, server core.h. Alright, so let's go ahead and see wayland display. Add socket. Alright, so these are our sockets. And then similarly, we will go over into here. We'll go into the server and we will add these. We're going to go ahead and add them alongside the add socket auto. I would like to generally keep things grouped together similarly to how they are in the C files, if only for reference more than anything. So yeah, we will go ahead and wayland display add socket. And then it takes a name and a struct. Oh, I'm stupid. That's the return type. My brain fucked up for a second. So it takes an int, and then it returns a pointer, and it takes as its arguments a pointer and okay, yeah, so that is how we do it. And then a name, which is just a string. Alright, beautiful. And then we have add socket fd, which here is just defining it through a file descriptor. Let's go ahead and get that documentation in there. Are we in the client? Yeah. Oh, no, next. Next. Alright, so I don't want to have it as verbose, but what we will go ahead and do is define the, I feel like really it's kind of, here's what I'll do. There. Really kind of I was worried about not keeping proper track of that struct there, which is kind of why these other ones are formatted the way they are. I'll probably go through and refactor further down the line, but yeah. So we have the display to which the socket should be added, and then the name of the unit socket. Let's see what auto does, or returns on failure, since we're here. Is auto not defined with the rest of these? What the fuck? Anyway. So if null is passed as name, then it'll look for wayland display environment variable for the socket name. If wayland display is not set, then the default wayland 0 is used. If the socket name is a relative path, the Unix socket will be created in the directory printed by the environment variable. So we're going to want to have a variable arguments form. I will go ahead and kind of define like an inline comment version of it. But yeah, in the meantime, we will go ahead and add this in. And then, I mean, honestly, oh, fuck. Okay. Honestly, no, get the fuck back over there. Be good. Be fucking good, okay? Good. Good. Okay. Honestly, I don't know if kind of this inline documentation or the comments tend to be the preferred practice. I'm doing it this way because this is what I prefer for the time being, but if anyone has any strong opinions either way, I don't know if you're watching this on like YouTube after I upload it or whatever, let me know. And then also if, I don't know, you have any other way to contact me and have strong opinions, you know, let me know. So yeah, we have that, and then we have also returns an int, and then takes a pointer to display, and then an int for file or socket file descriptor. Sock FD. And then while we're in here, I'm going to block these off really quick. And then let's take a look at add socket auto. No documentation, that's nice. And it seems to be the case in here as well. This isn't list. Add socket FD. And yeah, add that in as well. Right there, and nope. There we we go. What happens if I do this? Yeah, just kind of defining a wrapper since it accepts that variable, null versus, this. This is what I'm doing. Since it can accept the environment variable or it can accept the fucking words. Since it can accept either the environment variable or the actual, name of that display, add, and then I'm going to scrap the Wayland front of the names whenever I go ahead and create this, because they're going to be in a package, so we're going to know it's in Wayland. This doesn't really see where that has to be added, so it'll just be display add socket. Alright, beautiful. Oh, that's not beautiful. Alright. Beautiful. And then let's go ahead and, well, actually, how's it, what's the correct way to do this? Yeah. Let's do all caps because, important. And then, similarly, just... Okay. Yeah, that's... Yep, okay. Alright, look, we are at... So far, I mean, I don't really think lines of code is, like, the best way to describe things, especially whenever the majority of it is common, or like in this situation. Let's go ahead and remove that. And we can remove this as well because that's kind of redundant. Okay. I'll do the same with these later, but I kind of want to get a move on. Now that we have that added in. Alright, after adding the socket, calling wayland display run will run libwayland's internal event loop and block until wayland display terminate is called. What's an event loop? Turn the page and find out. What's wayland display terminate? So I believe that this is something kind of defined within the event loop, which we will turn the page and find out. Alright, incorporating the event loop. libwayland provides its own event loop implementation for Wayland servers to take advantage of, but the maintainers have acknowledged this as a design overstep. What? For clients, there is no such equivalent. Regardless, the Wayland server event loop is useful enough, even if it's out of scope. Out of fucking scope? What do you mean out of fucking scope? Anyway, each Wayland display created by the libwayland server will have, or has a corresponding Wayland event loop, which you may obtain a reference to with Wayland display get event loop. Oh, we're in the client. Oh, we're in the lisp. So these are all of our type definitions. I don't believe that we actually have a reference to the event loop struct in here. That is struct Wayland event loop, a brief event loop context. You usually create an event loop context, add sources to it, and call event loop dispatch. So where would we find this defined? And no. Oh, these are quite lengthy. These actually don't define the Wayland event loop either. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Let's actually look at the server protocol here as compared to this right here. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can hunt that down. Probably a util file. No. Where are you to find? Let's just go over to the GitLab and see if we can hunt that down. Actually, let's check the API. This might be a bit of a wild goose chase to a degree. Oh, usually you create the event loop context. We're worrying about something we don't really have to worry about just yet. Obtain with get event loop, a reference with a get event loop. If you're writing a new Wayland compositor, you will likely want to use this as your only event loop. You can add file descriptors to it with the Wayland event loop add file descriptor and timers with add timer. It also handles signals via Wayland event loop signal, which can be pretty convenient. And yeah, let's go ahead. I want to see. Let's go over the Wayland roots repository and see if we can actually hunt down its use as well, kind of in the tiny Wayland server. Oh no, it's not in examples. Yeah. tinywayland.c. No, just let me. They don't use the event loop, do they? No? They just use your Wayland display run. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So we will go ahead and try and grab this Wayland display get event loop really quick. So let's go back into the server core. Alright, so we're taking a pointer to our struct, and we are returning a pointer to our struct. And then this is defined right above sockets. It's kind of its own thing, it looks like. So let's move destroy up. Alright. Where? Just kind of keep that synchronized there. Now we're passing an add pointer. I believe that we're just passing in the reference to the event loop itself. Let's consult the tells us nothing. Okay. I don't know why I was searching for it there. Curious actually to see how CL Wayland is handling this, just as a reference. Jesus, 5 years ago? I wish I wish this were still, I wish it were still going on. This would make my life so much easier. I don't know, it's kind of fun to write it as well. So we are just passing a timer, or not timer. We are just passing a pointer. I believe. Wayland display, get event loop. Yeah, they are just passing a pointer as well, so we should be good with that. And I'm just returning a pointer. And then we don't have any sort of like documented section for there, so I believe that this I can kind of define high level and it will apply for any mention of display. Alright. So they also have wayland event loop FD, timer, and signal. We will go ahead and add those in. Alright, there we go. And this looks like it's a bit lower than the... It's lower than the socket information, right? Or are we higher up? Oh. Oh, we're high. We're at the top of the file. Okay. Okay, good to know. What are the... Alright, let's actually read some of this. Timer dispatch function type. Functions of this type are used as callbacks for the timer expiry. Param data, the user data argument related to wayland event loop add timer call. And then return if the event source is registered for recheck with wayland event source check. I don't really want to mess with that too much just yet. Let's again defer to here, see what they are doing, just out of curiosity. Yeah, I don't think that we'll need to deal with that. Okay, beautiful. Let's just go ahead and add these in before I wind up, you know, as they say, getting a little lost in it even more. And we're returning a pointer, and takes no arguments, do we declare void? I feel like I've done this before on one of these, but I can't quite remember. Oh, you just don't feed it any arguments, okay. Alright. Alright, beautiful. And we have destroy, which is the opposite. Not sort of. It is the opposite. Void, and it takes an event loop. Alright. This is actually good information. Let's go ahead and steal that and pop it in here. Alright. So there aren't too many... Oh, I stand a little bit corrected here. We're gonna do the remainder of the ones mentioned right here, which is just, yeah, add FD, add timer, add signal, and then we will go ahead and, you know, fill in any blanks as well. Like, I'm going to do FD update simply because I don't want to not do it and then realize I'm missing a function. And this returns the event source, so, struct wayland event source. Alright. I wonder if naming one of these loop is going to give a problem. I don't think so. I hope not. I know that's a keyword. I do hope not. yeah, let's see. Do we have a uint 30? We do. It's not uint 32t, but I don't think that's going to give us a problem. Okay. We are returning a function. Yeah, okay. Wayland event loop fd functy. Okay, so we're gonna have one of our first def C types. What's the what? What are you mad about? Oh. No? I'm going to ignore that. Alright. Yeah. So let's see. Name, base type, and documentation. Let's go up to their curl code section really quick for the tutorial and see how that worked here. Okay, we're dealing with something a bit more complex. Yeah, I want to see what they used for this. Ah, okay, okay. Oh, that's pretty sick. I haven't done C in a while, and get the fuck out of my way. Alright. Alright, Alright, that's pretty genius. Okay, okay, I get it. I get it. I get it. I think I get it. I'm pretty sure I get it. Alright. Oh, hello. How are you, wind up boy? I'm currently, kind of. Oh, yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, no, happy to see you, here. Yeah, I'm a bit in the thick of it currently with the kind of FFI descriptors. If you, yeah, as you can probably see here with, dealing with this type define, I done a decent amount of C in the past, but I've never really used kind of this method, so it stumped me even. But I think what we're doing is that's just kind of the next argument. I do have this here as well, which was kind of like the original CL Wayland. I'm using it for some reference, just kind of as I work through this. And yeah, I see that they have. Hold on. Yeah, they have it declared as just function pointer, which we should be able to do here. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, no, I got it. Okay, okay, it's clicking now, it's clicking now. So, this really is just a pointer to, like, the type defined function up here. Oh, thank fucking god for speed. Yeah, that was a bit of a red herring. But yeah, currently just kind of catch up or show kind of like what's happened so far. I do have these sort of proof of concept setups that are able to run like both the server and the client, but right now it's sort of back in FFI definition land, just working through this really. Now, oh yeah, wayland event loop, add fd, and then we are going to return a pointer again. Always returning pointers. And then do we actually have alright. Let's see. The given file descriptor is initially watched for the events given in mask. This can be changed. And then mask is a bitwise or of which events to watch for a wayland event read table, wayland event writable. I believe those are defined kind of at the top of the protocol. Worry about those whenever we get to them. Yeah. Data, user data, what the fuck? Oh god. Just seeing like the word user data kind of terrifies me, but I think that's more of, loop pointer, and then we are also FDN. I see user data and I think of like, selling user data or whatever. Just kind of things like that. Alright. Func. We'll also describe that, or define that as a pointer. And then it is pointing over to the wayland event loop fd func t. Right? And then last is just data pointer. Right, no error on at least the valuation of it, so that's good. And then what else? Oh. Alright, there we go. Let's move you back down here. Just gonna keep it congruent with the actual formation of the file itself. For now, at least. And then for this, we're just returning an int, and we're taking a pointer to wayland event source. And another uint32 mask. And this changes which events cause dispatch callbacks to be called on. File descriptors are usually writable to begin with, so they do not need to be polled for writable. That is, yeah, you don't need to be polled for writable, delivering a dispatch callback when possible to write more. Alright, so we will just say, keep it a little bit shorter here. Potentially write some like higher level documentation once more of this is defined. Yeah, that was FD update, and I'm gonna add these two in, and where are we at time? Okay, probably about 30-ish more minutes, maybe slightly shorter, but FD update, and then oh, these names. Alright, and we're returning the event source struct pointer. Yeah, I believe with both of these, yeah, both of these return that, I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm mostly positive. Alright. And then the Wayland event loop timer func t. Oh, not t. What's pointer type? Okay, that's cool. And I guess again we're returning data. Okay, I get it. So these have the... So all of these have the, what it looks like. Are not returning, taking as argument. So yeah, we really are just taking the loop that we're targeting. We're taking the dispatch function for once that timer has been added, and yeah, user information. Okay, it's starting to click. Are we taking that as a void pointer? Oh yeah. I'm gonna stick with what they stated with the other information in cffi, like the cffi manual, and keep that as just kind of a regular pointer. Can always wrap the pointer around, like, or wrap another data type around the pointer if need be. But I think that should be enough. Wayland event. Let's see. We're adding the signal. Loop. Add signal. And then, let's see. The timer is initially disarmed, and can be called with, it's probably important information. Okay. Alright, signal, okay. Another pointer, and then another function pointer, and then data pointer. Not data. Okay. Alright. So that should be decent for right now. With regard to these, I should probably, and just as I'm whittling it down, just to make my life easier, we'll probably end up cloning these header files. Yeah, I'll probably wind up copying these header files into a bit of like a, I don't know, folder where you can just like strip them of the functions as I get those converted into lists. It's kind of like a mental list to go down. We'll see. Because there's a lot. There's not too much. The protocol should be generated. That the parser is going to be held, right? But I'm not thinking about that right now. Alright. So with the event loop configured to your liking to monitor all the events your compositor has to run, you can process events and dispatch Wayland clients all at once by calling Wayland display run, which will process the event loop and block until the display terminates via Wayland display terminate. Wayland compositors are built from the ground up with Wayland in mind, as opposed to being ported from X11. Use this approach. Are there any compositors that have actually successfully been ported from X11 to Wayland that are actively used? We will go ahead and add Wayland display terminate, simply because it's right there and it's underneath FD. And Wayland display terminate. We are returning void, obviously. So what's the difference between this and Wayland display destroy? Really, I'm kind of wondering. Actually, this kind of disturbs sort of the unity with like the socket, so I'm probably going to move it into its own section again. But yeah, I'll do that. I'll go ahead and finish writing it first. Let's see where we are in way of, not good in way of actual like documentation on the Wayland website, which kind of expected at this point. Pointer, and then we are this way. Why was it taking me so long to realize that was just this way? So we're gonna move this down here, next to this call to Wayland display run. Just so we're not disturbing the continuity of this. Okay. And then, let's see. It's also possible to take the wheel and incorporate the Wayland display into your own event loop. Wayland display uses the event loop internally for processing clients, and you can choose to either monitor the Wayland event loop on your own, dispatching it as necessary, or you can disregard it entirely and manually process client updates. If you wish to allow the Wayland event loop to look after itself and treat it as subservient to your own event loop, you can use getFD and call Wayland event loop dispatch to process the event, flush clients. So I think what we can do is, yeah. Yeah, so we did have the FDR, the added N, I believe. see. No, we actually didn't. So we'll go ahead and add that here near the bottom of our event loop definitions. It's a simple enough one. Alright. Wayland event loop, get file descriptor. And I do really appreciate the decision to have the return type listed after the function name. It's always been, takes some getting used to. I'm so used to it being before, but the more I think about it, it makes just way more sense to actually just set it after. Yeah, so we have a loop pointer. I really don't know if this naming or having loop be the slot name is going to cause any issues. If I remember, the slots get converted into like a symbol value, so like their own symbol value. So I'm hoping that loop as a slot descriptor name won't fuck everything up later on. But I guess we're gonna see more than anything, you know. If it does, I can just kind of like do a regex replace on this file. Alright, Wayland event loop dispatch. And then this takes a int return, and then we have the loop pointer, and we have int timeout. All right. Knowing the success or error values are pretty standard for 0 success, -1 on polling is going to be good for like reformatting these, or like this error catching for the actual functions. Like I had with this one, I was struggling for it a little bit simply because I was trying to originally, I think it's probably because I'm not really used to CFFI that it didn't really process in my brain, but originally with this one I was really struggling because I had it for if client display is equal to nil and not null pointer p. But knowing that this returns an int and knowing that we need to catch that int if it is a -1 rather than a 0 is going to be good information. I'm assuming it's the same for the Wayland event loop get file descriptor. All associated event sources are polled. This function blocks until any event source delivers an event. Idle source is excluded, or the timeout expires. At timeout of -1, disables the timeout, causing the function to block indefinitely. A timeout of 0 causes the poll to always return immediately. All idle sources are dispatched before blocking, and idle sources destroyed when it is dispatched. After blocking, all other ready sources are dispatched. Alright, let's see. Wayland event. Oh, the end that returns is probably the file descriptor, actually. Yeah. Okay. Aggregate file descriptor. And then Wayland flush clients, when you have the data, which needs writing to clients. So you can use Wayland event loop get FD to obtain a pullable file descriptor, then call Wayland event loop dispatch to process events when activity occurs on that file descriptor. You will also need to call Wayland display flush clients when you have data which needs writing to the clients. Oh, Wayland display terminate appears right above that. Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and add you there. And then, yeah, let's see. Flushing clients, so we're just flushing all the clients on the display, it looks like. So, again, avoid, and then the display. Alright, does it have anything special to say about flush clients? I couldn't imagine. No. That's what I figured. It's kind of self-explanatory. You're just flushing the clients, I guess. Okay. Wonderful. Lib-Wayland client, on the other hand, does not have its own event loop. However, since there is generally only one file descriptor, it's easier to manage without. If Wayland events are the only sort which your program expects, then the simple loop will suffice. While Wayland dispatch display does not equal 1, left blank. So, yeah. I figure that should just sort of be. Yeah, that's the client event loop. That makes sense enough. It's just literally while we're not returning error on dispatching to the display. Or Wayland display dispatch, which that's actually in the client core, I believe. I wonder if we can go ahead and add that into our loop here. So Wayland display dispatch. Alright, we'll go ahead and add some code over to the client, since not a lot has been added to the client. It's mostly been server-side work, right now. Comparing this to that, what, fucking 100-something lines of do I have Wayland display get FD here as well? No? Okay. Yeah, okay, making sure I didn't make that mistake. I guess, you know, I really shouldn't, because this is in the client core versus the server core, but they all kind of look the same, to some degree. Yeah. Wayland. And we're returning an int. And yeah, we're just taking the display as an argument, so pointer. Okay, and then, let's see. Default event queue is empty, function blocks until events are on. Okay. So I wonder if we can implement this into the client logic. Because here we have get FD, dispatch, wayland display flush. And we'll go ahead and define that as well, because I think we'll need this also. Oh. Abort. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. I forgot to put the variable name for the display. Yeah. Okay. So we'll go ahead and evaluate these two and see if we can kind of end it on getting this one evaluated as well. Figure out there's any special hangups with the wayland display flush. I believe that we're just going to, it'll just kind of flush, or yeah, flush the display, but I'm going to see if we can do a full display disconnect, I guess would be the way I'd term it. Alright, wayland display flush, the display, so. Fc function, yeah, I'll probably make display, keep it as an and optional argument for the client call. I'll probably put it front and center just so users can define it, but add a preference for null, or like, not null, but add a preference for node definition so that it can default as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and define this so that we can get that done. And then it returns an end. That's kind of new for the flushing. Okay, so there is some documentation. That's good to know. And then we're taking the display pointer. -1 on failure. Send all buffer data on the client side to the server. Client should always call this function before blocking the input from display. On success, number of bytes is returned. Alright. I don't think we'll need this actually because we're not going to define any particular client action. So let's switch back over to SWI really quick. And let's go ahead and make a server. Okay, we have one running on Wayland 1. And let's take a quick look at the server code again, and just for reference, let's get that. A Wayland display object. Alright, so we do have the pointer for that as well. So what we're going to do is modify the I should remove these to-dos because this is kind of just the test function more than anything. I'm gonna add a little note for myself as well that we only care about this part for binding. Not even this part. Where are we? Yes. And I'll have it return error on does error take a let's see if we can see in the hyperspec. Yeah, function. So we can't choose where it formats to, it looks like. That may not be a problem. But yeah, we'll define that as an error because we do want to error out on a null pointer. Reference in this case, just to be on the safe side, we don't really want this to be ignored, or we don't want to ignore like a null reference like that. And then we will move this to have preference in the OR statement here. And alright, let's see if any fuck-ups have occurred so far. Nope. Okay. So instead of a sleep, what was it we were going to define? Or is there just a while define? I'm not used to common lisp looping as much. No, not Geeks for Geeks. Alright, let's see. Is there a 4 too? Yeah, okay. Loop macros really still kind of throw me in for a loop. I think I really need to hammer out kind of my understanding of the macroing. I think we want to do's here. Yeah, that for sure. Let's not define these as keywords either. No. Okay, so the NCF is probably not needed. Most definitely, it'll NCF on it. Yeah, it does. Okay, cool. that we want to do that. Wow. What was our condition again? Let's see. While wayland display dispatch. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I hope you rest well. Yeah, I'm probably about to hop off as well once I round out this little section. But yeah, thank you for the luck. Have a good night. While greater than negative. Salute as well. Salute as well. 07. Oh, no. 07. There we go. I guess both work. One of them just has a larger head. Okay. Let's see. And then we are using the wayland display dispatch. And we are connecting that to our display. Which in this instance is, it's not the point, or let's see. Is it the pointer to the display, or let's go back to the client code really quick. Okay, so we accept the name string here, but for dispatch we accept the actual pointer. I knew. So for getting this, we're going to have to get that display pointer. This may work, or it may just be completely fucked. But we shall see now. So no error. That's good. Make but we are only printing once. I think we're only printing once. Oh, it's probably because because of the threading. We will ink F this, and let's go ahead and redefine this really quickly. One air condition. I wonder if we can do a loop while. Is this gonna throw me error? No. But we're not. That's not what I want. Let's call wayland display dispatch to see what's going on. Oh, okay. So it's -1. Do we have a connection to it? Probably missing something that needs to be moved into there. Let's take a look at this. Alright. Display context object, the number of dispatched events on success or one on failure. If the default event queue is empty, this function blocks until there are events to be read. Multi-threaded, do not manually wait using pull. Yeah, this is client code, right? Yeah. Probably need more checks in there. Supporting after concept, set up wayland display and process events and requests. The only remaining steps to allocate objects to chat about on the other side of your connection. For this, we use the registry. At the end of the next chapter, we will have our first useful wayland client. Oh, thank God. Okay. Okay, cool. So we actually are going to... How much more is this? Let me expand to see where we are in terms of... Let me bookmark this page real quick. Yeah, nice. No, not that. There. Okay, now it's back. At the end of the next chapter, we'll have our first useful wayland client. Okay, let's see how they do the... Let's see how they do it. Oh, okay, so this will kind of be the proof of concept, is once we get to setting up the client. Okay, that's exciting. Okay, we're making we're making fucking progress. Fuck. Alright. Yeah, so I think honestly that is it for now. Went a little bit longer than I intended to even. Not by too much, but yeah, that is, I don't know, I call that a good stop for right now. Yeah, probably gonna pick this back up on this upcoming Sunday, maybe a bit longer, hopefully a bit longer. And whenever I do pick that back up, we are going to go ahead and create that client. We're gonna, sift through all the fucking globals and registry code, and yeah, probably add a bit more in the FFI. So for the server, we're making a pretty decent dent for what it's worth. Client not so much, but who gives a shit about the client? I mean, I guess technically, yeah. So I'm going to make kind of that the goal for the next time, but yeah. Until then, I guess, and best of luck to everyone out there in the world. Yes, bye.